Well, Queen, let me add, this is B.A. I got to live in the now.
Yeah.
You know, I can't live 2,000-3,000 years ago off that fame. Okay, that's what they did. Now, what we going to do? I got to live in what's happening. This is my reality. I'm here in America. 2 points I want to bring up. I'm a product of Detroit, Michigan. And these numbers, whether we want to believe it or not, are staggering, are daunting to me, where, for example, we had, when I was growing up in the 90s, and the same thing exists today, the city where we had 850,000 black people. The city was 80% black. We had 25,000 supermarkets, liquor stores, party stores, whatnot. Less than 1% owned by African-Americans, by blacks. I mean, now, if Egyptology can't get us to see, damn, that's a problem, then I can't use Egyptology. I'm sorry.
Can I say something? Can I say something about that?
I'm not. Wait. I just want to continue for a minute. I can't use Africa. Okay, I'm living right here in D.C., in Detroit, and the murder rate is off the chain. I don't know what Africa gonna do for us, or if Africa really want us in this shape and condition. We got to recognize that we are new people. We were given up on, and we've got to understand that we can't go back and try and recapture something when everybody else is moving forward. What I mean by that, quickly, when I ran for school board here, I met with first, second generation Africans and Caribbean. I met with them. And I didn't have to tell them nothing. Their children were trying to get jobs at NASA. We're telling our kids, don't work for the white man. Work for yourself. They're trying to get jobs at Raytheon, at Northrop Grumman, going into aerospace engineering. They moving. They trying to get tenure professorships at Howard and Caltech. And we trying to talk about going back to Africa. When the African come in here and their children are taking advantage of the quote-unquote affirmative action that's supposed to have been laid out for us.
But
the Haitians are moving. The Haitians here are moving and grooving. Believe me, the Haitians.
But VA, let me just say this. Let me just throw this out here before Brother Hollis get back in. I just want to say that it's not. See, the way you're saying it is like it's black people in America who telling their kids not to go to school. I know many black people that are encouraging their children to get education and to get jobs in these various industries. But I'm gonna tell you something. There's a discrimination against African American children and students as opposed to African students. I read about a study that was done, I think it was in Harvard, where to fill their affirmative action quota, they would choose Africans, native-born Africans, to fill their quota as far as black people rather than African American students. So there is a discrimination that goes on against African American people right here in America. You see what I'm saying? So, to say that African American people, children, some of them don't aspire for their children to get these, upper level jobs, like have to do with, space and all that other kind of stuff. They are, but we also have to deal with an intrinsic system of racism that excludes them and prefers, even though black just the same, a continental African as opposed to an African American, because an African American child will recognize racism in their face faster than an continental African student that comes over and goes to college that's born and raised in Africa. I mean, that's just my take on it. Brother Hollett, what you guys say?
Oh, man, I don't know where to start. But this is what's coming off the top of my head. You said you don't want to deal with Africa because we're here right now. I'm saying right now we're imitation white folks. Right now we're imitation Caucasians. And we've been this integration thing ever since we kicked this thing in about 30, 40 years ago. Why doesn't anybody blame the integrationists for the plight that we're in right now? It's not the nationalists that's the problem, because we haven't tried nationalism.
Right. We talked about it.
Why isn't all of the ills that's going on in our community lying directly at the feet of the integrationists and the people that want to make this American thing happen? Right. Nobody's tried nationalism. We don't have no infrastructure in our community. We let everybody come into our borders and just do business, and we just tenants here. But all of a sudden, when it comes down to the ills of what's affecting Black America, that they want to lay that on the nationalist feet. I'm not having it.
Right.
When we start trying it, let's try it first, and let's see if it works. Right. Let's try having a social, economic, and political infrastructure in our community where we control the economy of our community. And if it don't work, then y'all can say whatever you want to. But as far as I can see, this integration, this wannabe American, this want to disconnect yourself from where you came from so you can be an imitation white person, how has that been working for the last 40 years?
Now, going back to what B.A. was talking about with those preachers, see, this is where you start your nationalistic ideology, is where the people who have command of the largest groups of people feed into that ideology, thus infecting the groups that they influence. You see, because nationalists have been speaking out, so-called nationalists have been speaking out on the ideology of nationalism for decades. It has not manifested because we have so many groups that have their own ideology as far as to, where we think we should be going. Like I said, you have the Christians that going in a direction. You got the Muslims all of them black, but none of them thinking nationalistically. You got those who are integrationists that are within those groups. You have, people who really don't give a fuck about nothing within those groups. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So getting people to recognize, first of all, it's all about identity. It's getting people to identify themselves as one people. It's hard for us to identify ourselves as just plain black people. We want to be Israelites. We want to be everything but the one thing that we have been since the beginning of time, and that's black people. We don't want to say we're black. To say you're black.
Well, you see, the problem with that, Queen Ifama, is that, unfortunately, and a lot of people ain't going to like this, you got to go back to the root. And where does the root start? The root starts in Africa. If we don't want to know who the hell we are, then what you're doing is you're putting the cart before the horse. It's like all of these people that want to get involved with politics and do this and that. Oh, that sounds really nice. If you can get everybody in the black community to go down to a voting poll, good luck with that. Right. The reason why we're not getting anything done is because we're disconnected. We don't have any cultural cohesion because we don't know who the hell we are. But instead of trying to go back and find out who we are, we want to forget about that and just disconnect ourselves from the past and be some imitation white folks. And then we're wondering why nothing's happening?
But how?
It's fairly simple to me why nothing is happening, because we're out of our damn minds.
Let me say this. I'm starting to take ownership. I'm going to take ownership. I say speak for yourself, because you, and I know damn well that you're not out of your mind. I don't think BA's out of his mind. I don't think that everybody, who listens to
We are fail-safe mechanisms, Queen Ifama.
Right.
That's all we are. The reason why we exist is because if we didn't, the culture would be dead.
It'll be dead, right? That's our job.
All we are is a fail-safe mechanism. And a fail-safe mechanism is usually what comes when something is in distress.
Right. Well, of course, we've been in distress since they took our culture from us, our language from us, our way of, we've been in distress ever since then. You know what I'm saying? Even with all the things that we can attest to, the Black Wall Street, the Rosewood, and all of those things where black people were doing well without being around white people. But you have to understand, I understand that the only reason we did was because we were excluded. As soon as they opened the door and say we were included and could go shop in their stores, we kicked ours to the curb. That speaks to a mentality in itself. When you already have your own, why would you just drop your shit and go someplace else? So it's a mentality, which I was speaking to earlier, that we as individuals, I do believe, have to really do self-assessment. We have to really look at self. And I think the only way we can continually have this type of dialogue is that we have to keep on having the forums, keep on having the meetings, keep on addressing the issue of self-identity, who you are, taking it back to the continent of Africa as who we were as African people prior to our encounter with the European.
Right.
And not to even romanticize that, because even in that we have to take full responsibility for the reason why we became in the situation that we were, where we were in a position to be enslaved in the first place. So there's a whole lot of truth that has to be talked about and discussed without a whole lot of emotionality.
BA, I want to. BA, I just want to.
Let me say that, Mr. Holips. I'm on par with you. I don't disagree with 95% of what you're saying, what you've said, and I've heard your show. We agree with. All I'm trying to point out is black folk talk a good game. As Queen said, we all say we want good education for our children. But when I point out, here's the education your child is getting. Here's the education other children are getting. They become catatonic. They don't move. They don't do nothing. They don't want to hear it.
Doesn't that make sense, though?
And keep moving. And you mentioned things about black nationalism. I have been to city council-wide meetings, and people stood up and said, we want a high-level department store, a Nordstrom's, a Macy's, a Bloomingdale. We want Walmart. We want a high-level grocery store to come in our community and build world-class shopping centers and hire our people. That's what they wanted. I stood up. I said, wait a minute. We need burgeoning black entrepreneurism here in this county. They shut me down. They didn't want to hear it.
But does this surprise you?
Let me say. No, it does surprise me, damn it, because, like I said, I ain't sick, I ain't crazy. I get all my faculties, and I know damn well the people at that meeting get their faculties. But we say one thing, and we turn around, and we do just contrary to what we say. We love education, right? I bring up the fact that only less than 10% of black youngsters entering these 4-year schools will graduate. Less than 10%. I say this is the reason why. Let's move on it. I don't get nobody coming with me because I ain't got Reverend in front of my name, and I ain't trying to, bring up Jesus and God and tell you, how you not a good Christian. I'm just coming at it from an intelligent, systematic point of view. I have studied education across this country. I know why the Asians are successful. I know why the Africans are successful. I see their program. I know why the Hispanics are moving. And when I bring it to the attention of my people, we turn ignorant as hell. We don't want to fight. We don't want to struggle. We don't believe in ourselves. And if you think it's because we don't know Africa, I don't know.
No, it's not. We are Africa. If there's no, Africa is just
right.
We are Africa. We are Africans. But that's not the point that I'm making. What I'm saying is this, and I understand everything that you're saying, and I agree with you. What I'm asking you is, are you shocked by that? Because you know what would shock me? If you got the whole community behind you, that would shock me.
Right, that would shock me too.
The fact that you got Negroes being Negroes does not shock me. I know it's frustrating, and I talk about this all the time because we always claim we like you always hear this expression. I want to raise some strong black men and women, and I sit here and go, well, I'm a strong black man, and you hate my guts.
Right.
When I start talking, you want me to shut up because I'm talking all that black stuff. So, but trust me, I know the contradictions in our community. What I'm saying is this is a fact. Before you can do brain surgery, you got to have some medical training. And that's the bottom line.